Hello, welcome back. David from Atomic Candy. LPH is not here, so you're stuck with me.
Woo!
I know, but we'll get through this together.
Yay!
Anyways, feedback etiquette. eBay, Amazon, Listia. Is anybody still on Listia? I haven't been in Listia for weeks, ever since the whole XNK fiasco. It's just really died worse than it was already dying. It was like a horse with 2 broken legs, and now it has 3 broken legs. But anyways, this is going to apply mostly to eBay, because Amazon, they really don't enforce their feedback policy very much. I think most people just kind of ignore it on Amazon. But eBay does enforce it, and it counts a lot. However, it's absolutely a buyer's market now. Used to be the other way around. eBay leaned more towards the sellers and helped them out a lot. They don't anymore. Now they help the buyers out all the time, and the sellers usually end up pretty much screwed. So any feedback that is not absolutely excellent can potentially harm the seller. So the seller can end up really, really screwed if a buyer isn't happy, or at least comes off like they're not. So starting off talking about buyers. If the seller didn't do you wrong, don't burn them. Don't burn them. For a lot of these people, this is their livelihood. This is how they earn their living, or how they supplement their income. And if you mess them up with eBay, and eBay starts sanctioning them or suspends them or cuts them off, you are hurting their ability to earn an income. And that's just cruel. Even not giving a 5-star rating, you know how they have little stars, not getting a full 5-star rating, it slowly starts counting against them, and it can do a considerable amount of damage with their fees. Their fees will go up. They could get suspended. They could be blocked from putting up items that are worth over a certain amount. They could be blocked from putting up a certain number of items every month. There's a lot of sanctions eBay can do, up to suspension and throwing you off. So, and you may not think you're harming them by giving them 3 stars instead of 5, but it adds up very quickly on eBay's standards. And you don't have to lose much. I know you're thinking, oh yeah, you have to be a real bad seller to get thrown off eBay. No. If you're not up over 95% all the time, eBay can throw you off. They can screw you. It really does affect their standing with eBay. I mean, if there's an issue, resolve it first. If you can't resolve it, or you have to force the issue with a seller, I can understand leaving a negative or neutral feedback. But if you have a problem and the seller's working with you and willing to cooperate, and they give you a refund or they replace your item or whatever, don't turn around and give them a negative feedback anyway after they made it right. Don't do that. A lot of buyers do this. They're so selfish. I'm sorry. Maybe not you who's watching right now, but a lot of buyers are really just selfish, and they can be a real prick. And you give them a refund, because I've been there. I used to sell on eBay a lot. Hey, I'm sorry about that. They complain, oh, something got damaged, whatever. Hey, I'm sorry about that. What do you want to do? I can give you a partial refund. Do you want to send it back? What do you want to do? And then they still give you a negative rating. And it's like, damn, I jumped through hoops to help you, and you spit in my eye for it. So yeah, try to resolve the issue before you turn around and you just slap a seller like that. Most of them will work with you. Most of them will work with you. Absolutely leave feedback on every purchase. Don't neglect it. I know eBay sends reminders. They send you a reminder because their rating system, the way they use it, makes it important. So if you had a good experience, leave them the feedback. Don't leave it to the seller to come begging, hey, you won this 2 months ago. Could you leave some feedback? And then don't get annoyed that they ask you and leave them like a neutral, or give them a crappy star rating, because that's just not cool. And it's easy to ignore sometimes, particularly on Amazon. Like I said, Amazon, it's like take it or leave it with their feedback. They really don't seem to care there. But it does count on Amazon also. but it's not as severe. The penalties are not as severe with Amazon as it is with eBay. As for sellers, under the current eBay guidelines, you are absolutely getting the short end of the stick when it comes to feedback. Sellers cannot leave negative or neutral feedback on a buyer anymore, and they should be able to. If you got screwed by a buyer, or if you ran across a buyer who was dirty, whatever, you should be able to leave a negative comment or at least a neutral comment, and you can't do it anymore. You can only leave a good feedback rating, which does no good if you're dealing with a terrible buyer. And I'll tell you a story here, and I've told this story once before. I had dealt with this guy. He was a deadbeat bidder. He bid on my auction. He was a deadbeat. I had to file a claim. And of course, I couldn't leave a negative or a neutral feedback, so I just chose not to leave him a feedback at all. A few weeks later, he won another auction, and I'm like, what the hell? And he didn't pay again. And I was like, I want to look at this guy's feedback because he has 100% feedback. Why are you not paying my auctions? Like something like 85, 86 or more. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head. He had like 120 feedbacks. 85 or 86 of them were actually negative feedbacks. It was a positive feedback because you can't leave a negative or a neutral, but the comment says, seller beware, deadbeat bidder, guy doesn't pay, guy doesn't respond to emails or messages, bid on 3 of my auctions, didn't pay for any of them. There were terrible feedbacks. They were terrible feedbacks, but when you look at someone's feedback rating, what are you looking for? If they have less than 100%, you want to see what the neutrals and negatives are, and you can click those on and read them. But if a buyer can't get a negative or a neutral feedback, then you can't tell without reading every comment if they're a prick and if they're going to give you a hard time. It's really not a fair system. So as a seller under the current eBay model, I would absolutely wait until after I have received feedback from the buyer to determine if I'm going to leave feedback at all. Just don't do it. Don't do it, because you could leave them a good feedback, and I've done this. It's like, oh, you know what, this guy, he's had this package for 3 weeks. I guess he's satisfied with it. Leave him a positive feedback, and then they screw you. They leave, seller didn't mention this or whatever. It's like, if you're upset, why didn't you say something? You're going to burn me after the fact and wait till I give you a positive feedback to hurt me. That's just dirty. But a lot of these people are like that. So wait until you receive your feedback before you bother to leave the buyer his feedback or her feedback. And also, if you got unwarranted negative feedback from a buyer, I would complain to eBay. I would absolutely make a case out of it, because sometimes, not all the time, it's no guarantee, but sometimes they will remove a negative comment, especially if the situation was resolved. So like, let's say somebody complained, they didn't like what they got, and you're like, okay, what do you want to do? You want to send it back? Send it back. And they return it to you and you give them a refund, the problem's been resolved. And then they still leave you a negative feedback because they're a jerk. You can go to eBay and say, hey, they left me a negative feedback and I solved this problem. I gave them a full refund. They had no right to do that to me. Every once in a while, I'd say about 25% of the time, maybe, I'm being generous with that number, I think, eBay will remove that comment, because I have managed to get a couple of negative comments taken back after somebody left me a crappy comment on eBay that was unjustified. So if you push, they will take that back sometimes, but there's no guarantees on it, because once again, eBay's more concerned with their buyers than their sellers. They've got plenty of sellers and they're cleaning up off of your money, but they've got to keep those buyers happy so that they'll keep coming back and taking your products so that they can keep getting their commission. But if the seller's not happy, eBay doesn't care, unfortunately, obviously, or else you'd be able to leave a negative or a neutral feedback on a potentially bad buyer. And that's my take on it. You know, if you have anything else you want to say about eBay, Amazon, or any other feedback for any of these services, go ahead and put it in the comment section down below. I'd like to see what you have to say. If you got something out of the video, please do give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the notifications button if you're new. If you'd like to know when new content comes out, check out some of our other videos. We cover a lot of topics here about various aspects of collecting: toys, action figures, comic books, pops, you know, whatever. We cover a lot of ground here. Cartoons, you name it. So check out some of our other comments, some of our other content. Enunciate content. You may see something that you like. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.